Welcome, everybody, all fight fans tuning in to Fights Unwrapped. It's gonna be just me solo for right now. So I might have some other people jumping in a little bit later. Um, but it's just to give you my quick plugs. As always, guys, you can follow me at Alex TD Carr for all my crazy off the wall opinions. You can follow us at Unwrapped Sports Network and Fights Unwrapped. If you're a fan of sports, a fan of fights, and you're not following Fights Unwrapped or Unwrapped Sports Network, I don't really know what you're doing. We got people all over the country giving us content from their local perspective, from a national perspective. It's a great, great network. It's what brings me and my normal co-host Monique and Dustin together. It's what makes this great. It gives us the opportunity to talk about fights every single week and bring you constant content. Um, so yeah, today we're going to be talking a lot. There's a lot of fight announcements, headlines, some crazy controversy going on, and then of course we got the fight card because it's fight week, baby. And we're back at the UFC Apex this week again. I'm super excited for this fight card. I think everybody should be. But before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors as always. Please check out rxhemp.com. Use rxhemp-usn to get 10% off your entire order. Carlos Condit is an avid user of RX Hemp. Unfortunately, he's coming off an L, but I can't wait to see him come back to the octagon and fight again. He definitely deserves another fight. Can't wait for it. We're big fans of him here. I'm proud to be part of the RX Hemp family. So again, please use RX Hemp USN to get 10% off your entire order. And then we also have visit mybookie.ag. Use promo code USN100 for a 100% sign up bonus. I'm not the big better in the in the group. That belongs to Monique and Dustin. I know Monique, even though she's not here right now. I know Monique's going to be betting on this card. It is a big card to bet on. It's exciting. Again, visit mybookie.ag today and use promo code USN100 for a 100% sign up bonus. And then I'm just going to jump right into it because we got tons of headlines that you guys know I got tons of opinions on. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the moving of Jan versus Glover Teixeira. It's been moved to UFC 267. That is so exciting because there's another fight announcement about UFC 267. This is a fight that we've been waiting for. It's a fight that Glover Teixeira deserves. I'm glad he's getting his chance at the title. I can't wait to see Jan return after a successful, uh, absolute domination of the style bender. So I'm excited to see Jan fight again versus Glover. This is going to be a good one. Glover always puts on a show. Glover always, you can't count him out, no matter how good the other fighter is, no matter how much better he is than Glover, or younger, or more spry, or whatever you want to say about Glover, because he is getting up there in age. Um, he always comes 120%. He's always ready. Um, and you got better bet on it. Yeah, this is a guy that Glover. He can get beat up. He can look like he's about to lose. We saw it against the Thiago Santos fight. Glover had no business being in that fight, and then all of a sudden he ends up on top, winning that fight. He got rocked 3 or 4 times. It was absolutely incredible, and Glover rallied and came back. Jan is a little bit higher fight IQ than Thiago Santos, so I expect him to not rush in like Santos did. I expect uh, Jan to kind of beat up Glover, and Glover try to take this to the ground where he can dominate and use his ground and pound. I'm personally picking Jan in this fight. I think it's going to be unanimous decision. I think this fight goes all the way. He's going to be battling takedowns. He's going to be batting Glover Teixeira, who's just a freaking, I don't know what that guy's head is made out of, but it's insane the shots that he can take. So I think Jan is going to have to put in all the power, and he is a powerful motherfucker, but he's going to have to put all of his power into this if he wants to get a knockout, but I think he's too smart for that. I think he's going to go for points. I think he's going to win this in a unanimous decision. And then moving on to the other exciting announcement, well, I should say in the works announcement, we got Sterling versus Peter Yan. It's in the works for UFC 267 as well, so we'll be on the same card as the Jan Glover fight, hopefully, as long as everything goes through. This fight was actually not announced by the UFC. It was announced by Peter Yan, who said, I just signed the paperwork. I'm not playing with my food this time. Those are really strong words for a guy who doesn't normally talk shit. Peter Yan is a guy that, he's that quiet type that comes in and lets his hands do the talking. A lot like Dan Henderson, he's quiet beforehand, doesn't talk a lot of shit, but then he beats the crap out of you. Aljo's, we haven't heard if he signed the paperwork or not. I hope he does. I'm sure he's scared. Peter Yan was destroying him in that first fight and then threw that idiotic knee. I don't know what that was all about. Absolutely stupid. Just so dumb. Idiotic. You can hear his corner calling for, which, again, they got to know the situation. The guy had his knee down, and the guy had a hand down and a knee down. You can't throw a knee. You just can't do it. I think this fight's not going to the distance. I think Jan's going to end this with ground and pound. He's going to end it up with a TKO in the third round. I think he's going in there. Usually Jan is really patient. He tries to figure it out. He usually will give up the first 2 rounds, too. I don't see him doing that in this fight. He's got a point to prove. He's angry. He's pissed off. Aljo's been talking mad shit. Like he actually won the fight. That it wasn't a disqualification. He's saying that he doesn't even have to fight Jan because he proved his worth, which is just insane in a fight that ends in a disqualification. And a fight that you're clearly losing. So Aljo might have bitten off more than he can chew here with this one because I think Peter Yan's going to go in there and absolutely destroy this man. He's a man on a mission. He's going to kill. He's looking for blood on this. I'm very excited because this division is absolutely insane right now. Just to review it real quick. We got Aljo, we got Peter Yan, we got TJ Dillashaw, who just beat Corey Sandhagen. You guys all know my feelings on that one. Corey Sandhagen obviously won that fight to me. You got Rob Font, you got Aldo coming back with a huge victory. You got you got all these guys in this division. I love that the bantamweight division is as strong as it is. I don't know if any of them can truly beat Peter Yan, but I'm excited to watch it. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun in this division. A lot of fun. So moving on to another fight announcement. Let me just check the comments real quick, make sure nothing's going on. All right. Another fight announcement that just happened. We got Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaichy. It is another lightweight fight that's not for the title. I'm excited for this fight. Let me get that out there first. I'm super excited for this fight. Michael Chandler versus Gaichy is going to be an absolute war. 2 guys who do know how to wrestle, even though Chandler's probably a little bit better at wrestling than Gaichy and probably has better hands. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this fight. This is going to be a war. There's going to be bombs thrown. There's going to be crazy takedown attempts by Chandler. I'm personally picking Chandler, one, because I think he's the better version of Justin Gaichy. We have yet to see Justin Gaethje's wrestling in the UFC. We keep hearing about it, that he's this amazing, incredible grappler and wrestler. He hasn't shown it in the UFC. he does have good hands, really good hands, and he's got power. So does Michael Chandler. I would say Michael Chandler is probably not as much power as Justin Gaichy, but close enough. And I would also say Chandler is the much more explosive fighter, meaning he's got that he can take you down. You can blink it, and all of a sudden you're on your back with Michael Chandler. That's what I'm talking about with explosive fighters. So I got Chandler winning this fight. I don't see this being able to go the distance. I don't know how it does with these two guys in the cage. What's fun about this is these are two guys that really do respect each other and like each other. So we're going to get a lot of fun here. And real quick, we're bringing in one of my co-hosts. We got Dustin here while he loads up his screen and everything. And we'll get his thoughts on this. But I just think Chandler's got an easier path to victory. It is starting to get a little bit annoying for me to start seeing lightweight bouts with no title fight coming up. But before we're going to get into that in a little bit, and I think Dustin and I are going to start screaming at each other probably about the next topic. So I don't really want to talk about the lightweight title fight just yet. But Dustin? First of all, welcome. Go ahead and plug anything real quick if you want, and then go right into your thoughts about Chandler versus Gaichy.
What's up, man? No plugs today. I'm kind of late, so let's get into it. You guys already know who I am. Let's go.
So well, tell me a little bit. What is it? Chandler versus Gaichy was announced. It's happening. It's an exciting fight in the lightweight division. Two guys who are just absolute monsters trying to prove something. What do you think? How do you see this fight going? I got Chandler all the way, and I don't see how this fight, no matter who wins, I don't see how this fight makes it to the final round. I think this is ending early.
I have Chandler, but I'm not going to say by a long shot. So Justin Gaichy, the one thing Chandler's going to have to be very careful about is trying to get into some type of war with Justin, because I'm going to tell you right now, the dude's got a good chin. Don't try to go in there and think you're going to go through him, because it's probably not going to happen. So therefore, I think Chandler has a little bit more twitchy of hands, and that's the reason I think he might put Justin out in about round 3 or 4. No, it's not even a main event. It's only a 3-round fight. So If he was going to knock him out, it'd probably be in the 3rd round, because he has a lot more twitchy of a muscle. And I don't know if people understand that. Like when you're striking, Chandler's more of that guy who will literally send a punch over in 5 seconds. Just in seconds, a dude just will land on your chin, and it's really weird. Justin Gaethje's a longer dude. Like, he mostly brawls his way into knockouts. He exchanges his way into knockouts. Chandler can hit you with one real kind of twitchy strike, and it could kind of make you dizzy. And he's a good wrestler, so there's always a threat of the ground. But I'll pick Chandler just because off the twitch muscles he has, off those really quick strikes and exchanges that he'll have. It's going to be I think that's going to put him out later in the round. So closely, I'm going to pick Chandler.
Yeah, I would. Both of these guys that there's not a cardio issue with either of these guys. So if this goes, these are guys that can move fast. I mean, they don't move. Both of these guys can move fast into 5 rounds. These guys have stamina for days, so there's nothing to worry about there. I would again say that I think the big issue with me with Gaichy is we keep hearing about this guy's wrestling and how great of a wrestler he is, but we have yet to see it in the UFC.
It's like Chuck really
right, exactly. Whereas Chandler's a really good wrestler, top flight, like an incredible wrestler, and not just does he have twitchy hands. What I was getting at, he's also got explosive takedowns that come out of nowhere. So this fight might not end in a knockout early, but it could end in a stoppage with some serious ground and pound for Michael Chandler.
We'll see. The only person I know that really beat Justin Gaichy like that was Khabib. And Khabib is probably a world class, sambo fighter. So it's kind of weird to say that he's going to get monstered down by some takedowns. He is a wrestler. People don't think so, but he is. He just likes to brawl. He likes to punch people in the face. He doesn't always like to take you down. But he's almost like a Chuck Liddell style, to the point where he doesn't like to be taken down. He almost doesn't even like to be on top or on the ground. He likes to kind of Tony Ferguson, like what he did to Tony Ferguson. He likes to just punch you out. He likes to make you quit. I mean, it's just a personality thing with him. I think he doesn't want to lay on.
You're right, and I don't know if that's how it's gonna end. I just don't see these guys. These guys are gonna put on a show for us, because a lot of times people always talk about like the two guys that hate each other, that don't respect each other, are gonna put on a show. Most of the time, the best shows are the two guys that respect each other.
Justin actually likes Chandler. Actually, he said he really doesn't like Chandler. Gaichy literally said he doesn't really like Chandler.
He doesn't like Chandler now, but they've always been respectful to each other leading up into this fight. That might be a little fight build-up. Chandler even said Justin Gaethje's one of the best. Chandler comes out. He's so funny. He's like the most respectful dude on camera, and then such a douchebag. He reminds me of early John Jones in that way. When he was on camera, he would be super nice and respectful, and then in the back room, he'd be like, "Dude, fuck you. I'm gonna kill you, dude." That's kind of how Chandler is.
Chandler looked like he was a frat president. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I swear to God, he looks like he was a frat boy. I don't know what it is about him, but he looks like a frat boy.
He's definitely got that frat boy look to him for sure. So this is the next topic. Dustin, before I even switch over to the headline, first, just to close this out, we're both excited for Chandler versus Gaichy. Everybody at the Fights Unwrapped chat and the Unwrapped Sports Network are excited about this fight. This is just an incredible fight. And we'll see what happens. But before we really get into this next topic, I wanna preface this. We don't have Monique here to control me and Dustin, which is a bit of an issue because we can kind of go after each other in a fun way. We're brothers. It's all right. Not real brothers. We're brothers. We just want to put out a disclaimer here. We do love each other. There's no hatred. But you might hear some words being thrown around. You might hear some yelling being thrown around in this next topic. Because we have been yelling at each other via chat about this topic, and it is one Dustin Poirier. He has said, we're going to start with he wants Nate Diaz. He wants a championship fight at the same time, but he does not want to fight Do Bronx right away. He would rather fight a Diaz brother, and he would rather fight Islam. He just said that today. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Every time Dustin Poirier, not Dustin, who's right next to me, opens his mouth, he pisses me off a little bit more. He couldn't be more of a fake person, in my opinion. There's say, do your own research on his charity. I don't ever want to talk bad about somebody's charity on this. If you want to know, just DM me on Twitter again, AlexTDCar. I will go back and forth with you on there, but I don't have time to talk about it here. I just don't like him saying the title is the goal, the title is the dream. I want to be the lightweight champion, and then at the same time saying, I don't want to fight Do Bronx, I want to fight Diaz. I don't want to fight Do Bronx, I want to fight Islam. If you're going for money fights, just say you're going for money fights. Don't be fake. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, so I'm going to let Dustin talk first. But he knows my opinions on this. I am hating Dustin Poirier every day, every time he opens his mouth. What do you feel about this? What do you feel about him chasing the money? What do you feel about him saying that he wants to be the champion, but then turns down championship fights?
I'm not emotional about this subject, as some may think. I just recognize reality no matter what he says. And to me, I think he does eventually want to go for that goal. Eventually. I think that's an end. I think that's an end game. But right now, first of all, I need everybody to understand this whole Nate Diaz thing is about Conor. It's about Connor. It's the fact that Nate's watched him knock Connor out twice, and then Nate's kind of salty. So he's talking his shit, and he's weaseling his way into fights that he does not belong in. And I agree with you in that. Nate Diaz does not belong in the octagon with Dustin Poirier. He really doesn't deserve it. That's just period. And he should have finished his last fight. If he would have stopped worrying about looking like a badass, Nate Diaz would have finished that fight. And that's just what it is. That's his personality. He thinks it's cool to look tough and lose. I don't get it, but other people might. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. But I think he wants to fight Nate Diaz. It's going to be a big money fight. He's fighting Nate Diaz just because of the Connor shit. And that's exactly what I'm going to put it out to be. And I think maybe he thinks it's a fight he needs to take. I think he's going to beat Nate Diaz. But again, Nate Diaz might pull off another Connor thing where he comes out of nowhere and beats his fighter that should be fighting for the title. So it's Nate Diaz is a wild card. I'm going to say that right now. There's some fighters that he will beat that are very talented. But I disagree. The only time I disagree with you really in that was where nobody wants to fight Oliveira. That's not true. A lot of that division is tied up.
He's been turning down fights left and right, though. The guy's been sitting there waiting since May.
Dustin Poirier is probably turning it down just because of that Connor drama, and he wants that payday. That's fine. But Islam is not turning down a fight with Oliveira. The only reason he's turning down the fight is because he's fighting RDA. RDA probably would have been in that fight, but again, he's fighting Islam. And then you got, Justin Gaichy going up against Chandler. So this division's pretty tied up. I don't think it was because someone was scared of Oliveira. Oliveira's a tough guy, but I don't think any of them are scared of him or don't want to fight him. I mean, they fought Khabib. If they could fight Khabib and they want to fight Khabib, they want to fight Oliveira. Oliveira's not Khabib. I'm going to put you that way. So therefore,
I just want to. I would just say this. First of all, Islam. I love Islam, but he doesn't deserve a title fight yet. His next fight should not be for a title fight.
That's why he's fighting RDA. That's why he's fighting RDA.
There are two guys right now who have one reportedly turned down fight and one who openly has now turned down two fights against Stu Bronx. Dustin Poirier has openly admitted he has turned down both fights. And Justin Gaichy reportedly was offered a title shot and turned it down as well. Listen, I'm not trying to say everybody's running from him. I don't think Dustin Poirier wants anything to do with Stu Bronx. I think he's trying to bide his time until to see if Stu Bronx takes another fight and loses. I just think stylistically, matchup-wise, Dustin's like, I'm out. That guy's got longer arms than me. His striking's on point recently. His Brazilian jiu-jitsu is terrifying. Learned how to do a top game, too. In my opinion, since Khabib is gone, Stu Bronx is the most well-rounded fighter in this division. One of the best top 5 fighters in the UFC right now. I think Justin Gaichy, Dustin Poirier, these guys don't want anything to do with him because he will annihilate them. And it's just a shame, I love the Gaichy Chandler fight, I really, really do. But it's, again, like I opened up talking about that fight, it's another fight with a contender that did not accept a title fight. And I'm sick of it. Maybe I'm saying they're running from it because I'm sick of Dana White letting champions just sit there. He won the belt in May. He was hardly hurt. He didn't get a 6-month suspension. He could have fought the next month if he wanted to. I just read an article that you'll think this is funny, Dustin. I just read an article that said Chandler almost won that fight if it weren't for Stu Bronx's hand. I was like, what? So he almost won that fight, except not almost won that fight. I like this whole idea that Stu Bronx is this fake champion, that he's not very good, that he's just being propped up because nobody else won the title is just bullshit. Dustin Poirier won a title. He won in money fights, and now he's sitting there looking at the champ and going, "Oh my God, that guy is terrifying. I should have fought for the championship when I had the champ."
That doesn't make sense. So what they say? They said he didn't win the fight because of his hands. Is that what they said?
Yeah. The Chandler almost won the fight if it weren't for Charles Oliveira's hand.
First of all, that's like saying That's like saying boxers, some of the greatest boxers in the world, couldn't beat Floyd Mayweather because he was very good defensively.
Right.
No
Yeah.
shit. No shit. I mean, yeah, that's no shit. I agree with you there. No shit.
It's just funny to me because we know how hard of a worker Dubronx or Charles Oliveira is. And you know what he's doing right now. He's just sitting there working on his boxing. That's all. That's what he's doing. He's just sitting there. He said, "I've been training since May. I'm ready to go. Whatever anybody else is. Right now, we're talking about December." But he wouldn't. He said he doesn't even know who the fighter is.
You know who? Who reminds me of? A bigger and a little bit longer BJ Penn.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not as vicious, but he's just as dangerous on the ground and the feet. Like that. That probably would be my best comparison as BJ when he was in his prime.
Yeah, I would love to see Khabib come back and fight. I mean, we're kind of going off on the topic we weren't planning to talk about.
Me too. Quit talking shit.
But, actually, we were kind of planning on talking about it, but I don't have a headline for it. It's all right, though. Khabib's been talking. We got a pretty easy card to talk about, so we're going a little bit longer on our headlines than we normally do. And this is a topic that I wish Monique was here for because I really, really want her thoughts on this. Maybe we'll talk about it next week, too. Is one the Eagle Khabib? This guy, since retiring, has talked more shit than he did his entire career publicly. This guy, since retiring, has said that he can beat anybody anywhere, which is not untrue. Probably not really untrue. He is an absolute dominant freak of nature. This guy, since retiring, has become a coach and has been a very successful coach. He's undefeated as a coach in MMA, and I think it's 3-0, but still, that's absolutely ridiculous. All of his fighters have been fighting on main cards. It's not like he's dealing with low end guys. He's dealing with these young guys who are really coming up quick. But he won't shut up. He won't shut up. And right now there's a champion in his division who's been unchallenged, who is maybe a stylistically the hardest fight he could ever have in Khabib. Talking shit. I would love. First of all, let's get Dustin. Let's get your opinion on that, and then we'll circle around and I'll talk about what I want to see in this division. My dream matchup in this lightweight division, which is one of the best divisions in the UFC. So, what do you think about Khabib?
With Khabib, I mean, I've had my beefs with Khabib all throughout his career. First of all, I think he's too big for 155. I think he's too big. He needs to move up. He cuts down from 200 pounds. It's ridiculous. I think if he fought in 170 and he stepped up against Kamaru Usman, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So therefore, I think he's too big for the division. I think he bullied the lightweight division because he's so big. So therefore, again, and I also agree with a lot of people say, is that he's never faced an elite grappler. He's never gone against anybody that could grapple. Not one. So therefore, Charles Oliveira would be a perfect matchup because he's an elite grappler. He's elite. He don't have to work on his grappling. He's elite. Go ahead. You can take him down if you want to. I mean, we'll see how that, we'll see how that works. You putting Justin Gaichy in a triangle. First of all, that triangle was so damn easy for him. I watched him put it in, and I was like, it was an inverted triangle. He put his leg right and just rolled over. Like that was so easy. I know it's not easy to do it to Justin Gaichy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that obviously Khabib was head and shoulders better than these dudes when it came to that part of the game. Easily. And on the stand-up, Khabib has gotten rocked. I don't know if anybody's watched his fights, but he's gotten rocked on the feet easily. I've seen guys punch him hard as shit, and he got rocked, and he went straight for the takedown. Now he's so good
against Gaichy. He got rocked against Gaichy.
And he's so good, he just takes them down. But again, until he fights somebody that's an elite grappling, he needs to stop talking shit. My problem with him talking shit is he has this God complex because he's not fighting anymore. He doesn't even have to answer for his shit talking. He's just sitting in the, chair outside of the UFC fights and smiling and having a good time. Well, if you want to talk shit about fighters, especially Jose Aldo, I mean, you're drunk, dude. You're drunk. There's no way you should talk shit about this dude. This guy has probably been one of the most dedicated guys to the sport for almost 20 years. This guy is a decorated fighter. And he fights for money? I mean, dude, get real. Jose Aldo is not rich. He's not rich like Conor. He probably hasn't even made as much money as Khabib. He's not Floyd Mayweather.
I don't know.
He's not Floyd Mayweather. He's not, dude, he's not these guys that, John Jones, or he's not a guy that made a bunch of money. Like that's bullshit to me that he even said that, because that's so false. And third of all, it's like he's a good coach and he's got a lot of good fighters. I believe Islam's going to be a future champion. That's in my opinion.
Me too.
I think he's a good coach, and I hats off to him. I think he's a great coach. But at the same time, dude, stop talking shit about active fighters if you're not going to go in and fight them, because it's bullshit. It's so stupid. If you're retired, you need to quit talking shit, especially in your prime, dude. You're 31 years old. You are not old. You can step in an octagon today. So let's not say that. Come on.
The other thing about the Jose Aldo thing is Jose Aldo is 35 years old and has fought 37 fights. He's fought more fights than some guys who retire at 40. And that's just pro. That doesn't even include his amateur career or his grappling career. Like, this is just Jose Aldo's fought 37 pro fights at the age of 35. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. This guy fights to fight. He's not fighting for money. And the funniest thing is that at the end of his career, Khabib was only fighting for a check. Period. That's what he was doing. He was chasing the money, and it's fine. You're a champion. You should be chasing money. You hold the belt. You're the one in charge of the division. That's how it used to work in the UFC. That's how it used to work in boxing. You hold the belt. You're in charge. You can go after the fight you want.
Boxing is a little bit different.
But boxing is different, but I would love this fight to have Do Bronx versus Khabib. I would love it. I think Khabib wins the fight. I do. He's just a monster and a brawler. But I would love to see how a true Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist like Do Bronx does against Khabib on the ground. And the reason I say that, and it's a little difficult, but Do Bronx is one of the top 3 BJJ guys in UFC history at this point. The guy is an absolute monster. He can fuck over a wrestler on his back. Will he do it to Khabib? Probably not. Khabib's just a little bit too in my eyes. Khabib's probably just a little bit too good for that. But I think that's the fight that has to happen. I really do. Come get your 30th victory. Prove that you can beat a grappler. That's what I want to see. Prove it. And the other thing that no one would talk about leading up to that fight is that Do Bronx has a heavy reach advantage in that fight. Heavy. And has way better hands than Khabib.
You know what Khabib's dad dream fight was for Khabib? He said it was GSP. And I was like, well, let me tell you something. GSP made BJ Penn come up to 170. BJ Penn. That small-ass dude. He made him come up to 170. Hey, look, bruh, if you want to fight GSP, you're coming up either to 170, because he's old now. You might even have to come up to 185. So, and I'm going to tell you right now, GSP is bigger than you, dude. I'm just putting that out there. GSP is bigger than you. In his prime, he's a better striker than you. And in his prime, he's a better wrestler.
GSP in his prime destroys Khabib. I'm sorry. He just does.
He'd kill him. There's no competition.
Yeah, he would. GSP is one of the greatest of all time. If not, I mean, he's up there in the conversations of the GOAT of UFC history. I personally don't think he is, but he's definitely up there. I mean, the guy is one of the greatest mixed martial artists. Fuck UFC, one of the greatest mixed martial artists ever. That would be an absolute war if we could go back in time. Unfortunately, we cannot. Um,
I think at
so
40, he would still make him run for his money. I'm gonna say even at 40 years
maybe,
old, I guarantee it.
maybe. All right, we got to move on because we do have a fight week coming up. We do have a fight night coming up. It is exciting. It is a good one with a hell of a main event. We're back at the UFC Apex, like I said at the beginning of the stream. Unfortunately, we can't just talk about the main event. We do have to talk about the rest of the card. It is a very weird card, I would say, leading up to the main event. There's some really young guys. There's some Ultimate Fighter guys, which is pretty cool on the card. That's a little different, a little weird, but I'm down with it. I like that Dana's throwing them into main events, into fight nights, as opposed to just doing it on Tough. I actually was questioning whether or not it was true or not, but I'm going based off what the UFC tells me. If it turns out not to be true, please don't murder me in my comments. I'm just going off of what UFC is saying. So, we got the UFC Apex started at 10 p.m. the main event. We got the first card is the first fight is GM3 Gerald Meerschaert still shitting around in the UFC somehow. Triple M, whatever you want to call him, versus a guy that is on a hell of a run. We got Mahmoud Muradov, who's coming off a victory of Andrew Sanchez, which is not, a huge victory, but this is a guy that since being in the UFC in 2019 has yet to lose. He unfortunately had 3 canceled fights where he was supposed to fight some pretty big names, Kevin Holland being one of them. But he is back. He is ready to fight, and I think he's ready to win. This is a guy that can do everything in the gym. It's another one of those European daggers. To do everything, but he's also got hands. This guy's an absolute beast. I think this fight's over in the first round. I don't know how it ends personally because he could end it any way he wanted to. Maybe it's just because I don't have a lot of respect for Gerald, even though he is coming off a victory himself. But yeah, what do you think, Dustin? How do you see this going with this young up and comer?
Like I said about these two, I don't know much, so therefore it's kind of hard to judge. But I don't know, man. That could go either way. It's really hard to judge guys that are younger. I don't know because the spotlights, main cards. It is what it is. I have to kind of get more on the guy to really get too in depth. So therefore, like this fight's kind of a wash for me. Like we'll see.
All right, that's fine. We'll move right along. You told me you have been watching the Ultimate Fighter, and we got Andre Petrovsky fighting on this card. An Ultimate Fighter guy who made it to the semifinals, correct? I think so. I think he lost the fight. But this is a guy who is a wrestler. He's a top flight wrestler. He's got a little hands. I wouldn't call him elite, but he's got some hands. He is also a Philadelphia fighter, so I got a lot of love for him in my heart, and I'll be rooting for him. But he is going up against another young fighter, Michael Gilmore. He's not actually that young, but he's new to the UFC. 34 years old, looks to be a grappler as well. So we are probably going to see another scenario where 2 wrestlers get together and neither of them wrestler. So for that, I am saying Andre Petrovsky wins because I know he's got hands. The guy's also just a monster. Could be a monster in the middleweight division. The guy's fucking huge. Talk about Khabib coming down from a heavyweight. This guy, Andre Petrovsky, is fucking huge for a middleweight. You could easily see him step up at some point, but this is good. This is an exciting fight. I love watching the young guys, and the unknown guys because it gives you a little shock value, and they always are trying to prove something. What do you think? What are we going to see here out of the young Andre Petrovsky, the Philadelphia kid?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Andre Petrovsky. Like you said, that dude,
Guy's a monster.
he's huge. Like, yeah. I think he's going to fare pretty well in that division. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that.
Yeah, just so everybody understands, Petrovsky's last weigh-in was at 185. Gilmore's last weigh-in in his previous promotion, which was WXC, was 174. So already we're looking at a difference of at least 10 pounds. This is I agree with you. I don't think this is going to be a very good fight. I think this is kind of going to be ugly. I think Andre Petrovsky is going to use his weight, kind of just tool around a Gilmore who's coming from a low end promotion. We all know Dana likes to uplift his guys from his shows, so that's what this looks like to me. Get Petrovsky's name out there. He's a fun guy. He's very marketable. He will talk his shit. He thinks he's the best wrestler in the world.
Very talented wrestler, by the way.
Yes, he is. I am catching up on the Ultimate Fighter right now. He is an absolute monster, this guy. So I'm excited to see.
Andre is probably one of the best wrestlers probably in that division, even now.
Yeah, he's got to work on his hands, though. He's really got to work on his hands, because wrestling will take you really far, but it won't take you all the way. That's all he can do. We've seen guys.
He's got to be a wrestler striker. That's what he needs to learn how to do.
Correct.
Wrestlers, what they know how to do is back you up, kind of make you a little bit soft because you're looking for him to take your legs. If he can work in feints, and if he can work in, because he doesn't have very long arms, so it's not like
he does not. It's weird.
So what's going to happen is he's going to have to press, and he's going to have to push the pace. He's going to have to back you into a cage, and basically he's got to feint you to death and really throw right down the pipe. Don't try any hooks. Don't try anything like that. He's got to put 1-2s together. That's it. Swing straight for the nose. Because, again, he's not an elite striker. If he goes against an elite striker, they're probably going to put him down. So, therefore, he's got to learn that division. If you're a great wrestler, dude, you have to understand to infuse both. Khabib does it perfectly. You want to have the person who knows how to use striking and wrestling, that's all you got to look at. I know Khabib gets rocked, but he definitely understands how to mix the two.
And he knows when to stop and go back to his wrestling, too, because he'll get rocked and immediately get you down.
Immediately.
All right, moving on. This is a more exciting fight, at least for me. I've been a fan of this guy, not a fan of this guy, then a fan of this guy again. We got Kevin Lee back. He is back. He is fighting again. I'm excited to see what he's been doing, how he's been training. He's apparently said he's been training this whole time, that he's in the best shape of his life. He's had some issues with some staph infections in the past. He's had some injury issues in the past. He had 2 canceled bouts against Sean Brady. His last fight, the last time we saw him was, when the Duke Bronx Renaissance happened. That was really the first fight that Charles Oliveira was like, oh, this guy's a different version of Charles. He kind of destroyed Kevin Lee. So, but before that, he had beaten Gregor Gillespie, and he has lost to some top 5 fighters. But I will say this about Kevin Lee. The talent's there. The talent is there. He's just kind of got to pull it all together. He definitely has to work on his striking because he tends to throw his arms and not use his hips at all, which is, Dustin knows as a huge boxing fan, is not going to get you very far. And in this division where you're going up against guys who can also wrestle, you gotta have some power. You just gotta have it. Especially in this division with the guys that can defend the wrestling. But I am very excited to see Kevin Lee. This is a guy that I've always believed has all the talent. And he is going against Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod for short, who's coming off wins against Mike Perry, which was a pretty big victory, and a win against Preston Parsons, too. So he's coming up against a really hot fighter. I'm excited for this fight. I don't know how it goes. I'm going to go to you first on this and then make my decision.
I actually watched that fight against Platinum Perry. Um, yeah, I mean, this kid can fight. I'm actually glad he's getting this opportunity to get on the main card because Mike Platinum Perry was kind of his coming out. But that was, if you don't beat this guy, you're gonna have trouble, in your future in the UFC. And the hell bent he got it. So he got through a very dangerous guy. Mike, I don't care what anybody says. I know he's not impressive anymore. Like, he's not what he was supposed to be, but he's still very dangerous. I mean, when that guy throws punches, bro, then that leather wants to smack. I'm gonna say that right now. As soon as he throws, it wants to smack. So therefore, he smartly too. It was very intelligent the way he got through him. He played his game and he won the fight. I mean, it is what it is. He did what he had to do. And Kevin Lee is one of those guys I'm on the ropes about because again, I've seen him put together striking that wasn't against people that were formidable. It was against opponents he was coming up on. Not really when he was fighting, top level guys. So therefore, this kid's good. He's young, and Kevin Lee's not going to be able to do any flashy shit. And put it to you that way. He's not going to be able to do it. I like Kevin Lee's wrestling. I think he's a really good grappler, especially the top game. I think he's a good guy there. And I think that's what he's going to have to go to win this fight. I'm going to go with my man. I have to say he's Kevin Lee.
All right. So you're going with Kevin Lee or Rodriguez? I couldn't hear it.
And I'm going with Rodriguez.
I'm going to go the opposite route because you made some really good points. I think Kevin Lee tries to make this a really boring fight. He comes out, he knows he needs a victory, and he doesn't care how he gets it. But he's coming off pretty much a year layoff, where we haven't seen him, but he's still been in the top 10 rankings for some reason, even though we haven't seen him fight. The one fight I would point to that really stood out for me was Edson Barbossa versus Kevin Lee in 2018 when Edson Barbossa still had a lot of fire left in those legs, which is weird because he's the main event. And anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. But we got when he beat Edson Barbossa, and he showed me that because Kevin Lee got a kick to the face that put him on skates. Kevin Lee shot the takedown, ended up winning the fight with his striking. It was very, very, very impressive. If we see that version of Kevin Lee in this fight, that version of Kevin Lee that somehow puts it all together, because like I said, it's all there. He just is so inconsistent of putting it all together. He's kind of like a Darren Till. It's all there. Just be consistent. Put it all together, and you will be one of the best fighters in your division. So I think he can do this. I think he will make this a wrestling bout. I think he ends up beating Daniel Rodriguez in a unanimous decision. All right, moving on because we got more fights to talk about. We got another Ultimate Fighter guy. We got, I believe so. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We got Ricky Quincy Tercios against Brady Heisten.
That's gonna be
We got two really young guys. Yeah, Ricky Tercios is an Ultimate Fighter guy. We got two, again, I really like. I like how Dana's doing this. It's cool throwing those guys in, giving them a chance on a main event on a fight night. Instead of using these unknown guys, we're using, for lack of better terms, the amateur UFC guys. Throw them in the main card, see how they fare. Maybe they can get a contract that way. Tercios is, he's got a little bit of everything. He's got some ground and pound. He's got some striking. He came from Fury. He lost in Dana White's Contender Series. But Fury is no joke. That is a legitimate promotion. They do the really good fighters come out of Fury. He was in Bellator as well. He is coming off a loss, like I said. No, sorry about that. He's coming off a victory, win with an armbar. I'm excited to see this guy, what he can do. But Brady Heisten, I don't know much about this guy. I haven't seen him. He is from Conquest of the Cage. Don't know much about that promotion. but he's only 22 years old. So this is a guy that Dana White and the UFC team has deemed potential. Anytime you see a guy in his 20s on a main card, that means that they think this guy's got something. It looks like he's got some good wrestling. He's won with a couple submissions, and the rest are really. No, he's got some striking too by the looks of it, but it looks like his bread and butter is some wrestling. So I don't know much about these guys. I'm excited. I'm not going to make a pick in this because I don't want to act like I know a lot. I've seen that Tercio's fight in the Ultimate Fighter. He's a good fighter. I'm excited to see a 28-year-old and a 22-year-old go at it. These guys both got something to prove. They're both looking to extend their contracts in the UFC, and they're featherweight. So this is a division that they could really do some damage in. If they live up to the potential Dana sees in them. What do you think?
Well, this is actually the Ultimate Fighter finale. So
it is.
They are in the main event. So I'm gonna tell you this fight is going to be. This fight's going to be a war. These two are very active. They're both very young, and they're both good at both. Brady, a lot of people, if you have not watched Ultimate Fighter, actually fought his roommate on the Ultimate Fighter, which was a way more experienced, older guy who definitely probably should have been in the UFC earlier. And basically, he took this dude out. I'm going to put it that way. He took this dude out. Brady's one of those fighters who are very smart, and he's not the common fighter. Like he's not the foaming at the mouth killer, or like if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't think much of him. I'll put it to you that way. Ricky is another fighter who's very, very scrappy. He's a brawling guy. He does not mind to go toe to toe. He's also very good he's good on the ground. He's really scrambly. He's fast, quick. Just like all these light guys. These light guys, they know how to dance, man. They know how to get around. And they're all very fast. So therefore, actually, in this fight, I love Ricky. I think Ricky is a beast. But for some reason, I'm actually tipping towards Brady. Because I think Brady's a smart kid. I think he's good at striking. He's honestly, it's weird to say, but he's almost as good as he is at striking as the ground. The ground, he's very good. He's a long kid too. And I'm telling you, I think that Brady's going to win the Ultimate Fighter. And it's might be a hot take to some who watch it, but I think Brady's going to win this fight.
Muted, it won't unmute. There we go. I'm back. My mic wouldn't let me unmute. Just real quick, Dustin, you can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sorry, I had to switch out headphones. You guys can see the wire now. My headphones died. That is super exciting. I have yet to, like I said, I'm catching up on the Ultimate Fighter. Dustin knows, I have been around the country this past couple of weeks. It has been hard to stay up to date with that. The next fight we got is another Ultimate Fighter finale as well. We got Brian Battle versus Gilbert Urbina. I'm going to let Dustin take away. I've seen both of these guys. I know a little bit about them, but I'm going to let Dustin take this away. So go ahead, Dustin. Tell me what you think.
Battle's gonna whoop his ass. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, Urbina is one of those guys who have had several brothers on the Ultimate Fighter show, and he trained with his brothers. He trained at his home gym. I actually see the same shit from him and his brothers. I mean, they're fighters. They're game, but they're not. I don't think they're very skilled. I don't think they're technical. I don't think they have a championship game. I don't think they have enough accurate strikes. I don't think they have enough good wrestling to really compete at that level. And even if he won the fight, I don't think he would phase very well going forward. So, but Brian Battle, on the other hand, that dude's gonna pump him. I'm just gonna be completely honest. Brian Battle is another long guy also, but he's a good striker. And he's very long, and he's game, and he knows how to stay in the pocket. I think Brian Battle is going to straight take him out, and I think he's probably going to TKO him at least probably in round 2 or 3.
Yeah, and just to get my opinions on this, Brian Battle, what he did to Andre Petrovsky was pretty significant. Dana White, there's a little bit of rumors going around that Dana White thought Petrovsky was going to win. That's why he put him in the main event of this card, because he identified the Petrovsky as a legitimate guy.
He should have won on paper. Put it that way.
Yes, on paper he should have won, but Brian Battle ended up submitting him. I agree with you 100%. I think Brian Battle is just the better fighter. He's also got the cooler nickname. His name's Pooh Bear. It's always worth mentioning a really cool nickname like that.
If you get to know him and watch his personality, he's obviously Pooh Bear. Like, if you met him on the street, I swear to God, you'd never think he was a fighter. I swear to God, he's a very nice dude. If I met him at a store or something, I would think he was just a regular guy. Like, you'd never think he could knock your head off. I promise.
And those are the most terrifying guys in the UFC usually. Those ones that are just kind of like, "Hey man, what's up? How you doing?" and then murder you in the octagon.
Like Henry Cejudo used to be. Henry Cejudo used to be that guy until he started winning and he thought he was the shit. I'm gonna just point that out. Henry Cejudo was a very good guy until he thought he was the shit. I'm gonna put it to you that way.
I mean, he's the triple C.
Yeah, but he went from blaming somebody to like not representing the sport well to going on not representing the sport well, and he even commented on his race. Like he was talking to Benavidez, and he was like, "Well, you know the Mexican American fighters," and I was like, "Dude, what the fuck do you think you're doing now? You look like a retard. You don't even look good. You look like, excuse my language, I don't mean to offend anybody, but he looks like an idiot. He looks like a clown. Now he's a good fighter, but he looks like a complete clown. If someone knocked him out, that'd be the first time that I'd ever cheer for somebody getting flat. Like, I'd be like, other than Ronda Rousey, when she got knocked out, I'm not gonna lie, I jumped out of my seat. I was like, yeah. But Cejudo would probably be on my next list. If I saw him get knocked out, I would probably just clap. I'd be like, yeah, I don't care how bad you knocked him out. That was great. Good job.
All right, moving on to we got the main event now. I'm super excited about this. One of my favorite active fighters, and I think potential future champion is fighting. We got Giga Takazi versus Edson Barbossa, who we mentioned earlier. This is Barbossa looks like he's in ridiculous shape for this fight. He's a little bit older, doesn't have the same legs underneath of him, unfortunately, in my opinion, at least. But Giga is an absolute monster. He's ranked number 10. Barbossa's ranked number 9. There's been a lot of rumors about, and I know how you think about this, but there's been a lot of rumors, and some confirmed and some not confirmed, of people turning down fights with Giga because he, quote, unquote, doesn't deserve it yet. This guy has put on a show on every single fight he's ever been in. He is an absolute monster. The guy has, let's go back. Oh, let's go back. Let's see. So he came to the UFC in 2019. He's fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights since 2019, and he is 6-0 in the UFC. The guy deserves a better fight than this. I think he wins this fight pretty easily, and it's not really. I love Edson Barbossa. I'm a huge fan. The guy used to train in New Jersey, right over the bridge from Philadelphia. He is a likable guy in the UFC. I usually root for him in every single fight he's in. His leg kicks, some of his kicks are the most iconic kicks in UFC history. But Giga has the same power in his legs, and he's much more well-rounded than Edson Barbossa ever was, even in Barbossa's prime. So I think this fight's going to end pretty quickly. I think you guys can get ready, start packing up early when this fight starts, because I don't see this going past the second round. What do you think, Dustin? What do you think about this fight?
People might think I'm being funny here, but I'm not. I'm gonna predict Edson Barboza to lose because Edson Barboza is he's just a tipping scale. He's everybody's tipping scale. Like every time a fighter beats him, it's like, oh my goodness, they're just a god and they deserve to be in the top 5 and get a title shot. Look, man, Edson Barboza's been beat enough that he shouldn't be that guy. I'm just gonna put that up there. He's been beat so much that it shouldn't be this big issue. I mean, he's lost to a lot of guys who are champions or have been in the top 5, and he's one of those guys who gets beat by guys who are that good. And I understand people's love for him, but I just need to eliminate this status quo that every time someone beats Edson Barboza, they should just catapult to fight in the top 5 guys. Now, this Giga kid, first of all, when people say he doesn't deserve it, dude, when you're on a 6-fight win streak, you deserve whatever. You deserve
since
to get a shot.
2019, too. That's what blows my mind. It's only since 2019. He's fought 6 times in 2 years.
And Dana White and the UFC are so weird how they promote fighters, because I've seen fighters and they fight 3 times and go for gold. I've seen guys
Brock Lesnar
2 times, but Brock Lesnar was a celebrity and he won that fight, by the way. So a lot of people, he won a couple of those fights, so I can't say shit. But at the same time, Brock Lesnar was a real athlete. He was not some WWE star that everybody thought he was. When I tell you his wrestling resume is above, almost, superstar level.
Shocking.
He is. He lost 5 times in his life, and people need to stop acting like Brock Lesnar wasn't a real athlete. He definitely was. He was a freak. So let's get it past that. But there's other guys I've seen him catapult for almost no reason. And then you got Sugar Sean O'Malley that can't catapult even though he's whooping these dudes' ass. He got hurt versus Cheeto Vera. The way they promote people is so weird. But Giga, he definitely deserves to be somewhere. I don't understand why fighters are probably turning that fight down because he doesn't deserve it because they're scared to get their ass whooped. That's probably That's where I'll agree with you that they're scared to lose and they don't want to lose.
Well, just to throw this out there, so this is the one division where it gets a little weird, where I like the top 4 fighters a lot, but I don't like the rest in this division. I think it gets really, really weak, and you could even argue that even after 3, it gets a little bit weaker with Yair Rodriguez and the Korean Zombie. Calvin Kattar has turned down a fight from him. Dan Ige has turned down a fight from him. Josh Emmett has turned down a fight from him. Korean Zombie was apparently offered a fight and didn't. I don't believe this because Korean Zombie doesn't really ever run from anything. The guy's an absolute monster. But Rodriguez has also turned down a fight from him. That's 5 fighters. Not all of them have been confirmed, but are heavily rumored that have all turned down Giga fights because they quote unquote he doesn't deserve it. 6 fights in a row, 6-0 in the UFC. Shocking victories in them all. It's not like he's going in there winning by decision after decision after decision. He annihilated Cub Swanson a minute 31 into the first, with a minute 31 left in the first round. A minute 03 left in the first round with a brutal body kick that led to ground and pound. And before that, beat Jamie Simmons, who in his own right had a lot of hype around him at the time, with a head kick into ground and pound. This guy will come after you. He has the wrestling. He really does. He trains with some of the top flight wrestlers in the world. This guy has the wrestling and hasn't had to use it yet. He is an absolute monster in the UFC. He is terrifying, and nobody wants anything to do with him. I think he's got championship written all over him. I seriously doubt this fight goes past the second round. I think Giga knocks Edson out in probably the first, to be honest with you. I want to take a look at that division because, and this fight actually does have a lot of, we'll talk about it real quick because we are over an hour, but this fight does have a lot of meaning. So if he wins this fight, he's probably then taking on a top 5 opponent. Calvin Kattar, Korean Zombie, Rodriguez, Ortega, and Volkanovski are fighting, and Max Holloway's just been sitting there going, I am the real champ. This is bullshit. Just give me a championship fight. Well, and he deserves to do that because he is the real champ. So Giga, after he wins this fight, I would love him to fight Rodriguez. I think that's the fight to make. I think it's a good fight. I think he should catapult that high. And I think, honestly, he beats Rodriguez, too.
Honestly, I'm going to go weird. I think if Brian Ortega or Volkanovski loses, if he beats my man, I think he deserves to fight one of them. I want to see him.
I was being conservative. I would love to see that because I think Ortega actually does beat Volkanovski. We will talk about that later when we get closer and closer to that fight, which is coming up. But I do think Ortega beats Volkanovski. And then Holloway is going to fight the winner of this. That's already been determined. And then, yes, I think the Giga should. If the fight I want to see is Giga fight the loser of that championship bout, because I think it's fair. The guy's an absolute monster. He beats Edson Barbossa. He has now beat 7 people in 2 years. That's fucking insane. That's unheard of. It's unheard of in the UFC. And not a lot of these are like Kevin Holland, where he's taking them on short notice, like with a week leading into the fight. These are real fights scheduled that this guy he wins and then he's like, all right, Dana, let's schedule me again. Win, schedule me again.
Line him up.
He just wants to be champion. He wants to fight these guys. And the guys like Calvin Kattar, who refused to fight him, shouldn't even be offered the fight after he beats Barbossa, in my opinion. Because fuck him.
Nope.
All right. We do have to wrap it up. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Dustin, for jumping in with me. I was getting lonely here all by myself, so I appreciate it. Again, guys, to wrap it up, as always, please follow us at Fights Unwrapped. We're bringing you great fight content every single week, and follow Unwrapped Sports Network because it's an absolute incredible time. It's fun. A lot of really good podcasts, a lot of really good articles. It is really, really good content coming at you. With that, happy fight week, and we'll see you all next week.